It either ignites the compound effect in a positive direction or ignites it in a negative direction. It's kind of like the butterfly effect, right? Butterfly flaps its wings on one side of the planet, seemingly insignificant, but on the other side of the planet, there's a tsunami. And there's a tsunami of consequences in your life. So what do you do about this? If the consequences are invisible in the moment, you just have to have patience. It was set up here, just on this panel. It'll take longer than you think. Some people just give up too soon. Just have patience. Here's trap number 2. When you change the trajectory of your life, that change in trajectory is subtle and it's deceptive. You don't think that there's any movement whatsoever. It's kind of like this. If you're taking a plane from LAX to LaGuardia, and while that plane's on the tarmac at LAX, it's pointed right at LaGuardia, New York City. If the nose of the plane is only off by 1 degree, 1 degree is from here to here. You see that? From here to here. Meaning not very much. By the time it gets 3,000 miles across the country, it'll end up 150 miles off course. 2 states away from its intended course. You see, this is what happens in people's lives. You start making these choices. 10, 15 years go by. And then all of a sudden you walk by a full-length mirror and you go, how did I get so fat? How did I end up with divorce papers? This person who I said was going to be my soulmate at the altar. How did I end up in bankruptcy? You see, you might not have done anything significantly wrong. You might have only been 1 degree off. And that 1 degree carried over 10, 15 years, and now you're 150 miles off your intended course. So what do you do about this? Same thing a plane does. While it's on its flight path, it has in the nose of the plane a compass, or what's called a gyroscope. And so no matter what happens, weather, change in traffic patterns, it constantly resyncs to its intended destination. And you'll know that a plane is off track more than it is on track during the flight as you're going from point A to point B. But yet it can get 3,000 miles across the country and hit the exact runway it intended to hit if it has that compass and gyroscope. So before we're done here, I'm going to give you a gyroscope for your life. One that will be a compass that will continually keep you on your path so that you can hit exactly your intended destination no matter what happens along the trajectory in getting you there. Okay, so that's coming up. Number 3 is immediate gratification. This is a big one for our society today. I mean, we just want to pleasure ourselves at every single moment. Overwhelmed and stressed, so we seek immediate gratification. We want what we want, when we want it, and we want it now.
Hey, that sounds like my kid.
So let me ask you a question. What if after a fine meal, you're presented with an option? Grandma's freshly baked, warm still, chocolate cake for dessert. Or a glass of water.
Water.
Now, what do you get if you choose the chocolate cake?
Deliciousness.
Joy! You get a moral orgasm in your face. Are you kidding me? It's chocolate cake. You're rewarded. You're satiated. You're pleasure. Right? That's what this is. Now, what do you get if you choose the glass of water?
Nothing.
Nothing. You get nothing. Right here. Pay attention. This is the greatest challenge you will face to achieving your dreams. Because if you make a poor choice, you are rewarded. You are pleasured. You are satiated. If you make a good choice, you get nothing in a moment. Maybe even some pain as you watch your friend have an oral orgasm in her face. And we come by this desire to pleasure ourselves very early in life. It's part of our DNA. We are walking all day, every day through a gauntlet of constant solicitations on this weakest part of our nature, the desire to pleasure ourselves, immediate gratification. And to succeed to get to the other side, it's this constant surrendering to what you want, to doing what you know you need to do with no reward along the way. It works out like this. Here's the great paradox of life. I don't know why it's set up like this, but this is how this one was designed. What gives you short-term pleasure brings long-term pain. The chocolate cake, walking out of the room, going home and watching the sitcom instead of working out, short-term pleasure creates long-term pain.
And vice versa.
The other side of this is true as well. Short-term pain, making that phone call you don't want to make, going to that meeting you don't want to go to, doing that workout you don't want to, creates long-term pleasure. So know that you're constantly fighting this paradox. Or let me put it to you as my mentor Jim Rohn put it to me. He said, look, in life, you will suffer one of two pains. Now, I didn't even complete the sentence, and already there's amazing wisdom of life. Which means what? In life, you will suffer. Like, stop trying to avoid suffering. You will suffer. Here's the bad news about life. If you're on this planet, as we're spinning around the earth at 18,000 miles an hour, if you're here, you will suffer. Bad news. I have some good news for you. You can pick your suffering. As Jim Rohn said, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And as he promised, look, the pain of discipline weighs ounces. Picking up the phone, how difficult is that? Going to the meeting, saying you're sorry? Drinking your Shakeology? Doing the pushing play? That's easy peasy. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. Obesity, divorce, bankruptcy. So you're choosing every time, no matter what choice you're making, you're choosing every time. I'm choosing the pain of discipline, or you're choosing the pain of regret. Here's the fourth trap. All that it takes to be successful, no lie, all that it takes to be successful is easy to do. But it's also easy not to do. It's also easy to neglect to do. You see, it's easy to eat an apple a day or a shake a day for your good health. It's easy. It's easy to walk around the block for your good health or push play. It's easy to say you're sorry and make a moment of magic. It's easy to pick up the phone, make calls, write thank you letters, drink 10 glasses of water. All that's easy. But it's also easy to neglect. Because as human species, we're chasing the fancy, the new idea. What didn't work, what works now? What's the new formula? What's the scientific breakthrough? And it's distracting and derailing. What it takes to be successful is easy to do, but it's also easy not to do. Do not neglect to do the easy things. What do successful people and unsuccessful people have in common? You just kind of like boil it down. What do unsuccessful people and successful people have in common?
They're people.
Here's what it is. They both hate to do what it takes to be successful. But successful people do it anyway. Do I like, at 5 o'clock in the morning when my alarm goes off, leaving the warm embrace of my beautiful bride, to put on my running shoes to go pound pavement out in the cold, dark morning? I do not. Do I like picking up the phone, talking to people who don't want to take my phone call and struggling through those initial conversations? I do not. In the heat of an argument with my wife, when this time, okay, of all the times, this time I know that I'm right. Do I want to say, honey, you're right, I'm sorry? I do not. But why do I do those things? Because that's what it takes to be successful. Muhammad Ali put it this way. He said, I hated every early morning workout I ever had. Hated it. But I love being world champion. So you don't have to like it. You don't have to like inviting people to become part of your challenge group. You don't have to like going out and trying to recruit somebody to become a coach into your business. You don't have to like making phone calls, going to meetings. You don't have to like choking down that Shakeology, although it's really good. But you gotta do it anyway. And by doing it, you end up having what unsuccessful people don't have, wanna have, you end up enjoying. Because you did the things that they wouldn't do along the way. So what follows choices? Once you start making new choices, what has to follow that? Behavior. You can't just sit on your couch going, I'm making a new choice, right? You gotta get up off the couch, go out the front door, and make something happen. Behavior has to follow choices. Behavior is the next line of code in rewiring your operating system. Here's the problem with our behavior. 95% of our behavior is unconscious, meaning We're not even making a choice about it. Do you realize that? We literally sleepwalk through our day. 95% of all of our behavior has been reduced to automatic habit pattern. We're not making a choice about it. It's kind of like this. Remember when you first learned to drive a car? You were told to put your hands at 10 and 2, and then you were told to, look in the left mirror before you go. After you put the turn indicator, look in your right mirror, turn indicator here, look at your rear view mirror. This leg's got to do this leg's got to do this hand's got to do this. You got to do all this simultaneously while avoiding oncoming traffic. And your brain was like, do you remember that? Some of you, it was a little while ago, but remember that? Well, how about today? You see, today you can drive down the freeway, having a conversation, eating, God forbid, texting. Have you ever been driving down the freeway and all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh my God, I'm like 3 exits past where I was supposed to get off? Anybody ever have that experience? Yeah. What that means is that you've been hurling your car down the freeway at 80 miles an hour.
No driver.
Brain dead. Because you don't have to think about driving. It has become an automatic habit pattern. 95% of all your behavior is automatic. You're not even making a choice about it. So what do we got to do about this? To change your behavior, we have to bring awareness to that behavior. I'll give you an example. So I got into real estate when I was 20 years of age. And I did really well my first year in front of my accountant's desk, and he's putting in all the numbers, and the ticker tape's going like this. He goes on, giggling and laughing along the way, and at the end of it, he finally says to me, "Congratulations, son, you owe over $100,000 in taxes." And I went, "What? I don't just have $100,000 lying around." He says, "Why? You've earned several times, and of course you set aside the money to pay your taxes." And I said, "Well, the look on my face would make it evident I did not." And then he pushed himself back from his desk. He stood up and he pointed his finger at me and he said, "Son, you've got to stop it. I've seen this 1,000 times. You continue on this current path and you will dig your financial grave with your wallet. Stop it." And then he put his finger on the most powerful personal development tool I've ever experienced. They have to know, I've been a curator of the personal development industry for 20 plus years. I've seen everything there possibly is out there. This is the most valuable personal development tool. I'm going to give it to you here today. He put his finger on a 50-cent notepad and he slid it across the desk.
Tracking.
And he said, "I want you to track everything, every penny that comes out of your wallet for the next 30 days. He said, "I don't care if it's $2,000 for a new suit. I don't care if it's a round of drinks for your buddies at the bar. You go and get a pack of gum at the convenience store. You put 50 cents of air in your tires. I want it on this notepad." And I said, "Yes, sir." And I'm telling you, it wasn't a week and a half into it when I realized suddenly how money had just been pouring out of my pockets without me even knowing it. Even though I'm pulling cash out and swiping the card, I had no awareness to that behavior. The same thing is true with you. The key behavior that we need to change to take you in the direction that we want to have you go to reach the success destination that you desire, we have to bring awareness to that behavior. That's key number one. I told you I would give you a gyroscope, that compass that will guide you along the way. Another reason why I love Beachbody, they talk about those 4 vital behaviors. This is where you can track that 4 vital behaviors, and you just do it. It's as simple as that, people. Look, it's as simple as that. Those 4 vital behaviors will take you to any level of ascension that you want in this organization. Do not complicate it. Do not screw it up. Put those vital behaviors on this sheet, and then track whether you do them or not day over day over day. And if you just stay consistent with that, I promise you'll achieve any level that you want inside this network. But it is the drifting, it is the neglect to do the easy things that will cause your failure. So here's where you can get that. When you text in for the slides, I'm going to give you a link where you can download it, a blank one. You can just keep copying it off for free, okay? It's inside the Living Your Best Year Ever program, but here's a sheet you can just use and copy for free. I want you to see these results over time. Now, behavior repeated become habits. When you repeat those vital behaviors over time, it becomes a habit. And habit is the epicenter of your life. Everything we talked about up to this point has brought us right here. Habits will define your future. Your entire outcome is an outcropping of your unconscious habits. That's the third line of code in rewiring your operating system. What a habit is just a repeated behavior that in our gray matter, because see, we're born naked, scared, and ignorant, with no habits. You realize the baby doesn't have any habits. Habits are learned by a repeated behavior developed a neurosignature, or less technical, a brain groove. And so now you can perform that activity without even thinking about it. That's how the brain keeps us sane, so we can keep attention to what's new and novel in our environment. So in order to change a habit, we've got to, and these habits, they start out like cobwebs, and they become thick as cables. You have to stop doing one behavior and start replacing it with another. And when you go and try to change these habit patterns, you have to understand it is as difficult as if you were trying to get over substance abuse. All substance abuse is a learned habit that you have repeated over time that's developed that neurosignature. So that habit will keep pulling you back into that old pattern. It's kind of like jumping in a river that's going in one direction. If you jump in that river, you can be carried down that river with no effort. That's your existing habit patterns. It takes no effort to repeat your existing habit patterns. But as soon as you turn around and try to swim upstream against your habits, it'll take everything you've got, a fight of epic proportion to maybe make inches of progress. It'll be that arduous. I'm warning you so that you understand that that's what it is that you will be faced with to overcome. It'll take about 300 repetitions of not doing the previous habit and doing the new habit to weaken the previous neurosignature to build a new neurosignature of a habit that becomes automatic. One that you do now without even thinking about it. And here's the deal, people. Willpower will not work. You have to understand this part of our human psychology. Willpower, self-control, discipline will fail every time, over time. So what do you need instead? What you need is what's called why power. Why power is like this. Imagine I took a 300-foot steel beam and I laid it across the conference hall floor here. And I said, hey, if you just walk on top of the beam while it's on the floor from one end to the other, at the other end I'll give you $20. Easy peasy. How many people would do it? It's an easy $20, people, right? But what if I took that 300-foot steel beam and I put it atop two 100-story buildings? And the wind is whipping, the birds won't even go that high. And I said, hey, if you just go on top of that beam from one end to the other, at the other end, I'll give you $20. How many people are going to do it now? Now, what if on the other building is your child, and the building is on fire, and if you don't go across that beam, you will watch your child perish and die right before your eyes. How many people will go across that beam now? I did have one person in the front row once say, I have 2 children. Which child? Wow, that's really bad. Now I just want you to observe something here, okay? The first time I asked you, you're like, no way, no how. The risk, the danger's too great. I would never do that. The second time I asked you, you shot your hand up. And I didn't even offer you $20. What was different?
Why?
The reason why to do it. If your reason why is white hot, burning, urgent enough, you will do almost anything. Your real indomitable power is incredible. You are unconquerable. But if you just look at it the other side and it's like, oh, $20, danger, risk too high, you'll never do it. Same thing here. You can't say, oh, you're going to make more money if you become a beach body. The risk and danger is too great. It's too easy to go. It's not worth it. But if you connect that reason why, that personal identity that's urgent, that's important, because part of your self-identity, I'm telling you, that true potential just is emboldened and empowered, and you won't believe what you could accomplish. But it has to be connected to your reasons why. Now, when it comes to changing your behaviors, you need some tools. You got to hijack your current psychology. So inside the compound effect, which is the reason I want to make sure that you have it, so that you can follow up and use these tools to change your existing habits that are taking you in the wrong direction, and then give you the tools to install the habits that you need to take you in the direction that you ultimately want to go. So what's the last line of code in the operating system? If you're making new choices, acting on them, repeating that action over time so that they become habits, what's the last line of code
Success.
in that operating system?
Yeah.
It's just
Time.
time. Give it time. You want me to give you a big tip about building a direct sales organization like this? A lot of you might not know, but one of my first entrepreneur endeavors was building a direct sales organization. 18 years old, no knowledge of how to do this. I ended up building an organization of 100,000 representatives all over the country. Made me a millionaire several times over. So I know what it takes to do what you're doing. I know the pain, I know the anxiety, I know the fear, I also know what the process is. So let me just give you one huge tip about how to be successful in this business. Be here a year from now. Just be here a year from now. No, like seriously, just freaking decide you're gonna be here a year from now. And in between now and then, just do those 4 vital behaviors. That's it. Do them day in and day out. As they said here on the panel, treat it as a job that you just do day over day for a year. And I promise you, you will see success. The only thing that will stop it in this model, with this business, with this great leadership, with this great organization, is if you drift off course or you stop doing those simple, vital behaviors. But just commit 1 year. You will be here a year from now and do the vital behaviors in between. I promise you, the compound effect will kick in. And it will multiply. Even without the visible evidence that it's working, it will kick in. And all of a sudden, you will see the massive results that you've desired all along the way. And I ask you to do that. Because that's the biggest pitfall. Drift. See, it's not how fast you start. Everybody starts. Everybody makes New Year's resolutions. Everybody signs up for the gym. Everybody starts a challenge group. It's easy to start. What's hard is to last, is to stay. Commit to yourself right now. If there's anything you're going to do, just be here a year from now. And do the 4 vital behaviors along the way, and I promise you, success will be yours. Consistency wins every time. If I'm ever asked if there's any attribute that I would attribute any unusual success that I've had, this is it. Because I've never been the most talented person, I've never been the most skilled, I've never been the smartest in any endeavor that I have tried. But I could beat anybody at anything over time. Because of this, I will just outlast you. I know where human failure is, and human failure is in drift. Human failure is what the hare does. Talented, successful, and then they take a nap, they drift, they go on a vacation, and I will just out-tortoise you. I will outlast you. Consistency wins every time. That's the essential piece. So there's your operating system. That's all it takes to rewire your operating system. On top of that, the persuasive communication, the social media star, the Beachbody coach mass network that now can expand all over the world. You can build that on top of that if you get this world-class operating system operating at full tilt. I'm going to give you one last huge tip. I get asked all the time, is there anything you could do to speed this up? Anything you can do to speed this up? I said, well, there's one thing that I was given when I was 20 years of age when I got into real estate, made the difference of my life results to this point right now. And it comes down to this. I went to a seminar and I asked the seminar leader out to lunch and I said, dude, tell me what it takes to be successful. I'll do anything it takes, because I just joined my dad's real estate office and I really wanted to make my dad proud and he wasn't helping me at all. I said, what do I need to do? He's like, if I tell you, you won't do it. I'm like, no, seriously. He's like, I tell people all the time, but they don't do it. You won't do it. I'm like, why bother? I said, I promise, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll crawl over broken glass, I'll swim upstream, I'll climb mountains. What does it take? He says, what you need to do is you need to go out and fail. You need to go fail big. You need to go fail fast. I thought the whole idea of success was avoiding failure. He's like, no, it's exactly the opposite. And then he gave me this quote from Thomas Watson, the former president of IBM, who said the key to success, get this now, the key to success is massive failure. Now don't just see that as some Instagram quip. Let that marinate on your brain for a second. The key to success is massive failure. Now based on the looks on your face, I can tell that you're not getting it like I wasn't getting it either. So he drew out this little analogy on a napkin that I'm going to pass forward to you. I think this can make a huge difference for your results going forward. He said, look, life's like a pendulum. And on one side of the pendulum is pain, rejection, sadness, and failure. And on the other side of the pendulum is joy, love, happiness, and success. He says, if you just stand still, you won't experience any pain, rejection, sadness, and failure, but you won't experience any joy, love, happiness, and success. He says, you can't just live under a bridge. Ultimately, you gotta get out and mix amongst the people. So what ends up happening is people end up only willing to experience so much pain, rejection, sadness, and failure, which is the reason why they only experience so much joy, love, happiness, and success. This becomes their comfort zone. And this is what defines the box of their life. And he said, now, you can't push the pendulum on the side of joy, love, happiness, and success. The only side you can control is the side of pain, rejection, sadness, and failure. So your job is to go out and get as much failure, as big, and as much as possible. Push that pendulum high and wide and often. So I didn't have anything else to go on, so I thought, okay, I'll just try that. So in the real estate business, there's a few places where you can go get a lot of failure really fast. One of them is expired listings, right? These are people who have their house in the market with another agent. The listing contract comes up, it shows in the multiple listing service that it's available, and usually 20 or 30 agents start descending upon that house starting at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'd be there, front door, knock, 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 lots of pain, rejection, and sadness to be had there. Because these people are mad and angry at the whole real estate community. When I was done with them, then I would go call on the scariest, most awful human beings on the planet to a realtor. Who are those people? For sale by owners. These people hate realtors so much, they basically put a sign on their lawn that says, I dare you, if you're a realtor. Go knock on their door, open it up, and just like dragon slays, just goo all over you, right? Lots of pain, rejection, and sadness we had there. When I was done with all that, then I would just park my car at the end of the street, take out a little notepad, put 50 check boxes on it, and I wouldn't let myself get back in the car until I had 50 people reject me. So every time I knocked on the door, you plan on buying or selling a house in the next 6 months, slam! Get off my porch, kid! Kids throwing rocks at me from across the street. It's raining, and I can't get back in the car. Every time somebody rejected me, how did I feel? Great, one more checkbox and being done. This sucks, right? I pushed the pendulum high and wide on the side of pain, rejection, sadness, and failure. But here's what I want to tell you. 20 years of age, no business being in the real estate business, no experience in the real estate business. As he promised, the pendulum swung in equilibrium on the other side. In 90 days, I was in an office of 44 real estate agents. I was outselling every one of the agents combined. I had more new listings and more escrows than the entire office combined. By the end of the first year, I was doing more real estate than the number 2 and 3 agent combined. Next year, number 1 in the city. Next year, number 1 in the county of 3,000 agents. And what I'm telling you is, it was not because of any talent, skill, or ability. The only thing I did is I out-failed everybody around me. And as a result of it, I also collected more success. And that's what you want. Here's the one thing that I know for sure about all of you. The reason why you're not achieving your true potential, there's only one thing that's stopping you. Because you're far more capable than your current results show. Only one thing is stopping you. What is it? It's failure. It's fear. And if you take the thing that you fear into the thing that you pursue, instead of avoiding failure, you pursue it. I'm telling you, you turn that thing you once feared into fun, you celebrate it. Here's what I want you to do. Here's my challenge for you, Beachbody. Here's the challenge for the next 30 days. I want you to have a 100 no contest on your team. 100 no. Who can get 100 people to tell them no to a challenge group or no to becoming a Beachbody coach the fastest over the next 30 days? It's perfect time. Team Cup. You got Team Cup. I don't want you to track your successes. If somebody says, yes, I'll be part of your challenge group, or they say yes to becoming a Beachbody coach, you can't count that. That doesn't count. A contest of who can get to 100 no's the fastest. And the one that wins, I want you to celebrate them. And then I want you to have a booby prize. Who has the most embarrassing, god-awful, gut-kickingly, heart-stompingly defeat? And I want you to have them tell that story, and then you carry them around on your shoulders. Because here's what I know for sure. If you can turn the thing that you are trying to avoid into the thing that you are pursuing and you are celebrating as fun, you will take this this bottleneck. You'll take this blocked dam on your potential and you will bust it loose. Nothing but nothing will stop your true capability from being unleashed. Nothing will stop you. As Eleanor Roosevelt said, do something every day that scares you. It's the one thing that I measure every day. Did I do something today that scared me? Or as my dad said, no matter how talented, skilled anybody else is, as you look around this room and go like, how can I ever do as well as some of these amazing, beautiful people here? I'm telling you, no matter how talented, skilled, or somebody else's ability, you can beat anybody at anything if you just stay consistent and you just outfail everybody around you. So the last thing that I'm asking you to do is I want you to draw a figurative line in the sand. So if you've made goals before, you've been to conferences like this before, you've made decisions about your life before, but this time I want you to draw a line in the sand. And when you get out of your chair and you step over it, I want you to commit yourself, you will never go back. You will never go back to where you were as you sit there right now. And you'll be faced with this new mountain in life. And at the top of that mountain is where you want to be, the goals and aspirations that you've got. And Monday when you get back to work, I'm telling you, you're going to start climbing that mountain, it's going to become difficult. And right then is when your family and friends are going to be like, oh, yeah, you're going to do one of those things, huh? I've heard you set goals before, I've heard your plans before. And you're going to have to look them in the eye. Even though you love them, you got to look them in the eye and say, see this mountain? This is my mountain. And I'm going to the top. And you're going to climb up a little bit further, and I'm telling you, people are going to come out of the woodwork. Facebook, Instagram, they're like, oh, you're part of one of those deals, it's the pyramid. Yeah, I've heard people fall off that. That mountain is dangerous. People get hurt. You should get off that mountain. I care about you, so you should get off that mountain.